Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Doll Maker. Today we are continuing with our series about divination. In particular, this is the second episode about the tarots. So, I am going to assume that we have already familiarized with our deck in a way, in the way that we've seen in the previous episode, if you're following along. Of course, after purification and consecration. Now, we need to understand how to start reading the tarots, and we need to start building our understanding of the single cards and of course of the combination, and we need to start from somewhere. Of course, we need to start with simple exercises. For example, we can start with daily readings, or we can start asking basic questions. Basic need to start. We can start doing basic readings, in a sense, basic spreads, and we need to immerse ourselves in the world of interpretation of the tarots. Now, the best recommendation I can give you is to start with daily readings. Is the best way to familiarize with the cards, with the tarots. And in my opinion, you should start only with the major arcanas. So you are going to pull off, you're going to start reading only one card a day, the card of the day. You want to take careful notes of your reading and of what happens in consequence of your reading, and of course you want to read the booklet that came with the deck that was gifted to you or that you bought if you had no other chance. You can either do this the previous evening for the day after, or you can do this in the morning if you got time, but you still need to analyze the careful notes you have taken in the evening to see how your reading pointed you in various directions throughout the day. So, through your notes, you are going to get a much better understanding of the cards. And we should do a daily reading either from a minimum of 2 weeks to at least 1 month. Then, at this point, reading single cards, reading the card of the day, you are going to either include minor arcanas, or you are going to read triplets of cards. Now, I am recommending you to read also minor arcanas at this point, since it will allow you a better understanding of your deck. But triplets are also viable. So in a sense, if you then move after this month. If you then move to triplets, you are allowed a better understanding of how the cards are going to combine, are going to work together to send you a message. But in my opinion, you should in advance include minor arcanas, but including triplets is also viable. Now, you are at this point going to go on at least for a month, so you can gain experience with the method. You can gain confidence with the cards, and in this kind of skill, in this kind of training, persistence is key. Now, please, of course, do understand that difficulties may happen. It doesn't matter in any sort of way if you are forced to skip a couple of days for motivations that are outside of your control. But you still need to be as persistent as you possibly can. But try to be consistent in this sense. Now, you want to acquire a good knowledge of the cards. So you are going also in this step to keep careful notes, and you are going to review your readings in the evening in this sense. Then, after this month, you are going to integrate the method that we have discussed before with the other one. So, at this point, if you were already familiar with the major arcanas and you have integrated all the other arcanas, all the other tarots, the whole deck, in this sense, you are going to also integrate triplets in your reading. So no more a single card, but a triplet that is spread on your reading table, on your reading cloth, whatever it is. Or if you were already reading triplets with only the major arcanas, you are going to integrate also the minor arcanas. So you are going to put the whole deck in the game, if you forgive my term. So this is done to get the best reading that we can for a daily reading in a daily basis. But you can go on at this point doing this daily practice for as long as you want, because on point, this can be an amazing daily practice. It gives you an advantage on your life on a daily basis. You can go on as long as you can. The only thing that we want to integrate in our reading at a certain point is to also use reverse cards. So you are going to shuffle your deck in a way in which the card can be drafted in the opposite side. Now, when you feel confident on integrating opposite cards, please do remember that cards on the opposite side, cards reversed, are not an opposition to the original meaning. They have a different meaning. Please do consult your booklet. Do consult instructions, even on the internet. It's not reversing a card, it's not simply making the meaning the opposite one. It doesn't work that way, especially in combination. Now, we need to understand that constant practice in our tarot reading, in our tarot practice, is the best way to build a relationship with the cards and with the symbology. Then, when we have gone along for a certain time doing daily readings, we have gained some sort of a knowledge of the meaning of the symbolism, of the symbology hidden behind the cards. We need to start to work with spread, with games, if you want. This is what we call, in Italian we call them giochi games or aperture, openings. So we are going to, in a certain pattern, draw cards in order while placing them in specific positions. This is the basic of a spread. The positions of the cards in every single game, in every single spread, if you prefer, have specific meanings depending on the spread. You can find a lot of different spreads, or even the same spreads that I will recommend you now, but with different cards having different meanings depending on the position. And this is completely fine. Just keep in mind your favorite way of reading, of spreading the cards, of opening the game while you are shuffling the deck and drawing the cards, also putting them in the specific position. Now, if I am lucky, you will, of course, you will find the basic spreads usually in the booklet that came with the cards. But if I am lucky, now you will see on screen the basic triplet that I am going to recommend you. In this triplet, you are basically reading from the first card your situation, from the second card the obstacle that you are facing, and in the third card the advice that is given to you. Or it can either be, if you are making an analysis of yourself, in the first card, the situation of your mind, in the second one, the situation of your body, and in the third one, the situation of your spirit, which is a little more complex, but this is a basic spread. Or it can even mean, if you are analyzing things in a chronological way, in the first one, in the first card, you are going to read the situation coming from your past. In the second one, your situation in the present. And in the third one, the most plausible situation for your future. Now, we can evolve this basic spread, this basic reading, into a cross, which is not a Celtic cross. We are going to see the Celtic cross next, but this is from a triplet to a basic cross. So, of course, in the first card, you're probably seeing this now on screen. If I'm lucky, you are going to see either in the first card the situation, the mind, or the past. In the second one, the obstacle, the body, or the present. In the third one, how you can advance from the obstacle or the situation of your spirit, or the most plausible future, as we seen before in a triplet, is exactly identical to a triplet. But now we have also the fourth card, in which we can read whatever is the reading that we are making, the core reason for the circumstances of our situation, of the situation that we are in, and in the fifth, card, the potential of the situation, or even the most probable outcome, if you prefer, depending on your reading. Now, we are going to move even forward in our knowledge of the spreads with the Celtic cross, that is performed in this way, that you can probably see it on screen right now. So, the first card represents our present, the second card represents our challenge in this sort of reading, the third card gives us a suggestion to better understand our subconscious, the fourth card, and you can see a pattern here, it represents our past, the fifth card represents our future, in probability, of course, within the possibilities. The sixth card is the nearer future, the most probable outcome in our closest future. The seventh card in this reading represents our internal influences. The eighth card, in opposition, represents our external influences, of course, in the situation you are reading for. The ninth card represents either or both our hopes and fears, and the 10th card represents the most probable outcome for the situation we are reading for, of course, either ourselves or for our querent, for our customer, even in some cases. But in this video, I want you to familiarize with an astrological spread. This spread is made after you've trained a little bit for the exploration of yourself, or of course your querent or your client and so on. This is a clockwork, it's called a clockwork spread in my tradition, but of course it has many names in different traditions. Now you can see it on screen, and the first card represents remember that we are doing this spread for the exploration of the self. So the first card represents your self definition, or the one of your client, and so on. The second card represents your values and your dreams. The third card represents how what you really care about your decisions. The fourth card represents how you stay focused or what you should do to stay focused in a broader interpretation. The fifth card represents how you face conflicts. The sixth card represents how you regulate your emotions or how you should act to regulate your emotions. The seventh card represents how you should behave in this moment or in a certain situation. It will be very clear for you once you do this reading. The eighth card represents what you need to let go. The ninth card represents what you need to balance. Now, please do remember that what you need to let go and what you need to balance are usually correlated, are linked, but they are not the same thing. Then, the 10th card represents your main temptations or your main obstacles in the situation you are or within the context of the reading. The 11th card represents your deep desire. This is sometimes very clear, very direct, very straightforward. Sometimes it may be very contextual, hidden, or not in your knowledge of things. And finally, the 12th card represents how you should shadow walk if you want, just like we've seen in a previous series. What you have buried within you that you need to face, that you need to confront in a sense. Now, I know these were a lot of spreads, and also I am recommending you to do daily readings, so I completely understand that you need time and you need to take time to better understand your relationship with the tarot. But please do remember that I am proud of you. If you got until this point, of course, I am hoping to see you in the next video. I deeply thank you for your kind attention, and may eternal light always shine.